Hello and welcome to the BCAT podcast demonstration. I'm your host, Tad, one of the production coordinators and social media manager here at BCAT. Joining me is also our engineer, Rob Zahora. Rob, how are you?
Hi, very good, Tad.
What we're going to show everybody here today is our new Rode Podcaster Pro.
This new Rodecaster Pro is a very easy-to-use system, although it has a lot of advanced features. We have it set up here at our desk in our studio. And at some point in time, when our Edit 3 construction is finished, we will be moving it to its permanent location. We have 4 microphones, 4 Shure SM7B microphones are individually attached and color-coded, as well as a computer source from USB, and finally a Bluetooth source.
And your podcast will be recorded either to an SD card that's in the back of the audio board here, or onto an iMac computer, which we're going to have set up in the podcast studio once we have that set up. As Rob said, we have 4 microphones, so you can set up the podcast studio with 4 people and also have a call-in person, making that a 5th. One of the cool features of this board are these 8 drop buttons over here.
It has all these built-in sound effects or the capability of adding your own. Ted's going to demonstrate a couple of them that are built in. How about a wah-wah sound? And you can add your own. There's up to 4 banks of 8 sounds each that can be recorded.
Right. If you have something on a computer, you'll basically be able to drag and drop the sound effect, the music, whatever it is, you can drop it in there. There'll be an automatic button that you push right here.
So if you had an interview that you wanted to put on and just press the button to play back the interview, that would work. To make this really useful, we have a couple of different ways to bring in an alternate person through a phone. But I'm going to leave, go to the other end of the room, and give Tad a phone call.
Hello, you're on the BCAT podcast.
Hey, Ted, how you doing there?
Not too bad, Rob. Can you tell us how the phone connects to the Rode Podcaster Pro?
Okay, in this case, we're going through the audio input, and there's also a Bluetooth input. But I'm speaking right to Tad's phone, and it has a built-in something called mix minus, so that the person who's calling in doesn't hear themselves with a lot of feedback, and that will make it really nice for interviews.
Right. And so again, pointing out that we have 4 microphones and you can have a 5th person calling in.
An alternate way of getting information into the podcast is through the computer, through the USB port. You can use this as just a simple audio source, and so what your computer plays will be available on one of the channels or one of these sliders that you have here.
Right. So say you want to play some music, just go ahead and click on the music. You bring in your music. You can play pretty much anything that you have on the computer. Like if you were watching a YouTube video, you can comment on that, or some interview or some kind of audio you want to bring in that's on the computer, just go ahead and let it play.
Also the computer, you can record to it. Basically, you can use the computer interface to control a lot of the settings on the podcaster.
Right. Once we get the actual podcast studio set up, we'll have an iMac in there, and you'll be able to record directly onto the computer using Premiere Edition or whatever kind of software we have.
One other feature is that you can save all your settings as different people come in to use the podcast setup. They can recall their previous settings and not have to worry that somebody else has got a bunch of different settings.
So really all you need to do is come up with your podcast.
Yep. That's the important part.
So whether it's like politics or UFOs or sports or whatever it is, if you can talk it, we can walk it right here at the BCAT podcast studio.
Yep. And as soon as this COVID situation is done, everybody will be free to come in and learn how to use the equipment.
And that's been the BCAT podcast studio demonstration with your host, Stephanak, and guest engineer Rob Zahora. Don't forget to visit the website, bcattv.org.